What is up YouTube, James Baek here. Welcome back to another episode of VGC 2018 Back Battles. Today is the first episode I've been recording ever since I got back from US Internationals. The video you saw yesterday was something I pre-recorded but accidentally forgot to upload within the weeks I was gone. So I do apologize for that, but we are finally back with VGC 2018 Back Battles. It's after Internationals. I didn't do as great as I would have liked. I finished 6-3, which was I think 47th place. I don't know what's with me in 47th place, but yeah, so I didn't finish that great. I lost in my last round. I was 6-2. Had a good shot if I won my last one that I'd be able to make day 2, but unfortunately I faced a really tough matchup and didn't play it as well as I would have liked. I kind of threw away game 3 after just not bringing the right Pokemon and then playing pretty poorly, which was on me. So yeah, a little bit disappointing because of the fact that I only finished highest top 64. Like my first US Nationals was back in 2015. I finished top 64. Then in 2016 I finished top 128, and then last year I finished again. It was the same story: 6-2, 6-3 last round. Finished top 64, so a bit disappointed, and I will be working hard for Worlds. But right now we're in that break between Internationals and Worlds. Right now there's a lot of basically trainers just getting into Worlds practice, and most players, their season is over. But I will be trying out some new content to bring out. I'll be experimenting around, so be looking forward to that. Another one involves this team. We actually got a team that I did bring to the Virginia Regional Championship, and this one got me top 4 with Accelgor, Tapu, Lele, Charizard-Y, Landorus variant, Mimikyu, and Snorlax. So yeah, I'll be bringing one of my regionals teams, as well as the fact that I will be actually, instead of normally when I do have these teams, I usually put, you know, in the description all the EVs, movesets, etc. I'm going to be holding off for that, but if you're watching this video a week after it was originally uploaded, then you can just go ahead. Down below will be the description, or in the description there'll be the EVs, movesets, etc., and probably a link to the team builder. But I will be actually providing a team builder for this team because a lot of people have been asking how do I build my teams, and this was actually originally a Baek Battles team, fun fact, so should be pretty fun. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I've been talking a lot. Let's just get started into the action. We got this team that originally for Virginia, I was just going there for fun. I didn't exactly have a team that I was going to use. I already went to Roanoke like a week before. I decided to go to Virginia like a few days before the event. So yeah, I was just going there for friends, hanging out with people, play for fun. So just built this team, grabbed this team idea from back when this format started. I think I actually had Tapu, Lele, Accelgor in my team builder. Tapu, Lele, Accelgor, Charizard since even before VGC 2018 started. This was like back when Doubles Battle Spot was a thing. But right now we got Sasha with Incineroar, Kangaskhan, Ninetales, Kartana, Tapu Fini, and Zapdos. So interesting team, pretty standard, except the Ninetales is a really interesting part. We don't really tend to see Ninetales too much. I think a really good Pokemon I can just go is my Charizard Landorus. Doesn't seem too bad. I could also go Mimikyu Snorlax. I don't really see a reason not to go Mimikyu Snorlax because it's pretty strong, but then again there is that potential fake out. So what do I want to do here? I kind of want to go, I think Accelgor Charizard is pretty good as a lead just because it puts on a lot of pressure against my opponent. I think go with the Tapu, Lele and the Landorus mode. So there are two modes with this team. You got the Mimilax mode, and then you got more of the offensive core with the, you know, Charizard, Landorus, Accelgor, Tapu, Lele. I think the Accelgor Charizard was probably my most common lead with this team. It was just really effective, and I think in this game it will be very effective indeed. Because I do want to lead Charizard. I do not want Ninetales to get the Aurora Veil. If my opponent even brings Ninetales, I don't think Ninetales is that good against my team in general, but my opponent might just. I think Zapdos, Fini's coming, and I think Incineroar, Kangaskhan. I don't really see Ninetales too much, so I guess I don't really have to worry about that. But Charizard puts on good offensive pressure against my opponent's team, and Accelgor can do a lot of work, especially since I can switch in Tapu, Lele if I really need to. We're going to see Kartana Zapdos, which is something that's, you know, really intriguing to me. This is not a lead I expected at all, but this works out hugely in my favor because unless it's timid max speed Zapdos, the worst I'm risking is a speed tie at this point. I can go easily for an Acid Spray and Heat Wave, and that should be able to knock out the Zapdos. And Kartana can't really pick knockout right here. Unless it's some kind of weird set, like maybe Normalium Zika Impact, which I hope I'm not facing, because that would be really scary. But yeah, at the worst point, I think the worst case scenario here is if I miss a Heat Wave, or the Zapdos is like, again, max speed, or some kind of crazy set happens here. But right here, we'll go Charizard, Mega Ball, bring out the Sun. Don't really see a drawback into going for the Acid Spray Heat Wave. Let's see what my opponent's going to do. Kartana's just going to protect. Okay, and I can also Encore the Kartana if I really want to, but Kartana, again, isn't really that big of a threat. Acid Spray will go out into Zapdos. And as long as we hit Heat Wave, which is always the why I really don't like bringing Charizard in general, I have to rely on Heat Wave here. Heat Wave does connect with the Zapdos, fortunately, so we will be able to pick up the knockout on Zapdos. So Zapdos, clean knockout, and basically my opponent wasted the protect. I basically got a lot of momentum right there. There's not much my opponent can really do. Tapu Fiend is going to come out, and oh man, is my opponent already giving up? Because I don't know about bringing Fiend in. I could go for Acid Spray Solar Beam if I want to. Kartana, again, as I said before, cannot threaten a knockout on anything. So I think Acid Spray Solar Beam is my play. I could also Acid Spray Heat Wave, which is fair. But I do like getting rid of the Feeny right here. Kartana, again, doesn't really do too much to my team. We're going to see the Kartana withdraw, which is fine too, into Incineroar. So no Kangaskhan. It was actually Incineroar, but Incineroar does make a lot of sense here. And we'll see what my opponent decides to do in the following turn. As if the Feeny doesn't protect here, I just get a knockout. It looks like my opponent didn't protect. So as you can see, I'm calling every single turn right. Just able to put on so much pressure, because it's really hard to switch into a Charizard-Y, and Accelgor with the Acid Spray limits your protect options because of the fact I do have Encore. The Acid Spray, Solar Beam, Heat Wave combinations are just so ridiculously powerful that if you're not careful, I just pick up instant like knockouts, big damage, like no matter what. It's just pretty huge. As we'll see what my opponent decides to bring out next. We're going to see the Kartana come out once again, and yeah, it's really going to come down to, you can fake out here. If you fake out, you probably lose the game here. If Kartana has, you know what, but there's no reason for me not to just double protect here, because of the fact, even if Kartana, I guess, worst case, sets up Tailwind, my Accelgor should be faster than that Incineroar, unless it's for some reason like Jolly Incineroar, and I'll still be able to get the Encore off, even if this Kartana gets a Tailwind up. I guess worst case is maybe Swords Dance, or maybe Substitute, but I can always Encore that, as my opponent does decide to fake out, and that's just an easy Encore for me. We're going to see the Smart Strike actually here, which is an interesting move because we don't really tend to see that on Kartana too much. Another trick that I do have with this team, if I really want to, as I'll tell people, if it's not Assault Vest Incineroar, the standard spread for Incineroar usually just tends to survive Gigavolt Havoc from Tapu Koko. Acid Spray and Overheat actually guarantees a knockout on those Incineroars, so that is something that's also pretty insane about this team. So yeah, I'm just going to Encore Heat Wave. I don't have to risk anything here, as the match is going to be forfeit. As you can see, really quick victory, as Accelgor Charizard was probably one of my most popular leads at the regional. Again, it was so powerful. It's just like my opponents couldn't really switch into it, and if they ever called it wrong, I just hard punish it. And of course, as you saw there, Charizard didn't even take any damage, and yeah, my opponent couldn't get any momentum basically. Maybe my opponent let Feeny Zapdos, my opponent could have got some momentum, because he could have got like maybe a guarantee at least Tailwind up and fake out the Accelgor. But then again, I could always just switch into Tapu Lele if I really want to. You would probably be forced to, I think, Flare Blitz, but then again, that's a 50-50 roll, because I could always Acid Spray and Heat Wave. So it really comes down to some mind games right there, as I actually do remember losing a game at regionals to that lead. As we find Soko John from the United States, Tennessee, 1589 rating with, what is this? Medicham Golem. Medicham Golem, Golduck, Naganadel, Milotic, and the Tapu Lele. Okay. If someone asked me what do I think about this team, I would say, what are you doing with your life? Because I don't know what I'm supposed to expect here. My opponent does have terrain control. Accelgor Tapu Lele is so good in this matchup, I feel like. Scarf Psychic threatens so much damage. Landers isn't that good, is it? Landers is not that. I want to bring Accelgor. I want to bring Tapu Lele, that's for sure. Charizard, probably. I could go Accelgor Tapu Lele and then bring Mimilax in the back, which I actually might think is better. Or I could lead Mimilax, but I don't think that's really that good because I think Accelgor Tapu Lele is just such a strong lead here. Yeah, I'm gonna go with these four. I think they're really powerful against my opponent's team. And I just don't see Charizard doing too much work there because Golduck tends to run Cloud9 as its ability, so Charizard won't really be doing too much to my opponent's team. And I really don't want to get trapped into like going for Solar Beam. My opponent switches in Golduck going for Cloud9, so I really don't want that happening. We're gonna see Naganadel Golem as the lead. I don't know what to expect. There could be Explosion. Tailwind isn't really that threatening. What if Psychic knocks out Golem? I wouldn't be surprised if Psychic actually does knock out Golem in one hit. I think you would have to be scared of Scarf Lele potentially on this team, and Golem's probably the biggest threat to my Mimilax mode in the back. I think I am going to go for Acid Spray Psychic here into the Golem. Naganadel is going to protect, so this could be Explosion too, which is why I really think Acid Spray into Psychic is the best play. Perfect. Perfect. I'm going to get rid of your Golem turn 1. Awesome. So Explosion was something I was considering there, which is why I made this play. And even if Naganadel, let's say, went for Tailwind for instance, I could have Encored into Tailwind, which wouldn't have been too bad. Or I could have, if Golem protected and Tailwind happened, I could have Encored the Golem to protect as well. I don't think you leave Naganadel in unless you're Choice Scarf, but then again, you might be worried about a final Gambit right there. So there were multiple things. Getting the lead advantage is huge. Tapu Lele is going to come out from my opponent's side of the field. And I just don't see a reason not to just throw off Acid Spray into Psychic into Naganadel. I do get a guaranteed knockout here onto the Naganadel slot. And unless this if it's Life Orb on the Lele, it's a roll to knock out my Accelgor. And if you go for the Z move, you waste your Z move on Accelgor, and I get to confirm how fast you are. So Acid Spray into the Naganadel. I also could have went for Final Gambit into the Tapu Lele and a Psychic into Naganadel, but I don't want to risk this being sashed and my opponent getting Tailwind up and having a lead advantage right here. So I will just go for a knockout on Naganadel. It's safe, and we'll see what my opponent goes for with the Tapu Lele. Going to be the Dazzling Gleam, which, again, I really don't mind there. So Dazzling Gleam usually tends to mean it's like Scarf or Specs Lele, and that's not Specs damage. So it might be Scarf here. We're going to see the Medicham come out. And again, I'm not really too worried because if it is Scarf Lele, I'm okay with that. Even if it's not Scarf Lele, I do have a Mimikyu in the back, which is pretty potent against my opponent's team in general. I'll just fire off Acid Spray Psychic and a Medicham. I don't see a reason not to. Medicham gonna Mega Evolve right here. And if it doesn't protect, I just get the knockout. So we'll see what my opponent does here. And there's no point in me tying down the Tapu Lele, I feel like, right here. As Medicham doesn't protect, so I'm going to be able to get a knockout onto the Medicham. Accelgor just putting in so much work right here with this Acid Spray. Psychic will be able to finish off the Medicham right here. Medicham cleanly drops. And we're going to see another Dazzling Gleam. So it is probably Scarf Lele, which is weird because I'm actually slow Scarf Lele. Well, not too slow, but I'm not max speed Scarf Lele, like max speed modest. So I'm wondering if the Lele actually, you know, is like Scarf or Dazzling Gleam its best move potentially. I am going to Acid Spray Psychic though into the Tapu Lele spot. Because I do have a Mimikyu in the back. Mimikyu should be able to handle this game. And another Dazzling Gleam probably won't even finish me off. This might be another 4-0. Acid Spray into Psychic here. Does this even knock out Tapu Lele? Close, but not enough, as we're going to see. This is another Dazzling Gleam. I think this is another 4-0. Yeah. Accelgor will be also able to finish up this game with the Acid Spray. So, Accelgor putting in a ton of work for this first game. I love it as Accelgor putting in a ton of work. And this is the thing. It's a really scary combination. Accelgor plus Charizard. Now I get to show off Accelgor plus Tapu Lele. The combinations that Accelgor can have is really, really scary to have. Of course, it is really difficult because if you do predict wrong, you could be hardly punished for it. But if you have some safe plays, and the Accelgor team usually does have a way or two of handling certain situations, you might be alright. So, able to pick up a nice victory right there. And again, the big turn there, Not letting Explosion, because if there was a Protect Explosion play, that means I'd lose 2 Pokemon compared to if I guess wrong with the Golem and no, I guess goes for Tailwind, I wouldn't lose any Pokemon. If you go for Sludge Bomb, I only lose 1 Pokemon, which isn't too bad compared to losing both my Pokemon at the same turn, especially if it's like a Life Orb or Bandit Golem, which, you know, they do tend to run Bandit, Self-Destruct / Explosion, so yeah, I'll just always target the Golem. I'll always take that trade any day of the week, but yeah. Alright, we're back. So yeah, after that, as I said before, we were using Accelgor. Accelgor has put in some work, and yeah, like I was able to lead the 2 main leads of this team, being Accelgor Tapu Lele and Accelgor Charizard. I'm pretty sure we're going to probably see the Mimilax mode come in at some point, which was the other common lead that I had with this team in Fury. And then Charizard Landers. As I mentioned before, well, I don't think I mentioned it on YouTube, but I think I mentioned it during like one of the stream interviews that I had, and of course, like I think after on Twitter, that I didn't actually practice or play with this team at all. This was something more like I gave a few of my friends to try out, and they told me they really liked it, so I was like, hey, you know what, I'll use this, because this was something I wanted to rebuild after Toronto, because I felt like there were a lot of teams that were just really weak to Charizard at that point in the meta, so I just, you know, brought Charizard. But then again, I could probably talk about all this stuff in the team building process, as we got Jack from the United States, New York, 1563 rating, with the team of Charizard, Heatran, Tapu Lele, Tapu Koko, the Aegislash, and Landorus variant. So interesting. I could go Mimilax, I could go, but I feel like that's probably unreliable here. This is an interesting matchup, I think. Yeah, this is like a really interesting matchup. I like Accelgor Tapu Lele. It does pretty good work against my opponent's team. I even like Accelgor Charizard as the lead, because I think it puts on a lot of pressure. As long as that's not a Scarf Landorus. I am a little bit worried about a Scarf Landorus, because Scarf Landorus is probably the one thing that gives my team a bit of trouble. I do kind of wish I did EV my Accelgor to outspeed Adamant Scarf Landorus, but I didn't actually do that. So, Game 1, what would I lead? I think Accelgor Charizard's fine as a lead here. I think I am going to go Accelgor Charizard as lead. I definitely need Landorus for the Heatran and the Tapu Lele. Now, what are the Pokemon I think my opponent's going to bring? Because I do want to consider that. I think he would bring Charizard. Not sure if he would bring Aegislash, but I could definitely see it. It does stop my Accelgor Lele from running down the team. I definitely do see Heatran, though. I definitely see Heatran. I think Landorus. I think Koko. We'll find out what my opponent's going to bring here, but I think Charizard plus Aegislash is a pretty safe lead for my team, because of the fact that I'll just be able to threaten a lot of my opponent's team with the final Gambit option being faster than my opponent's team. So we'll see what my opponent decides to do here. Of course, Scarf Landorus is like the one Pokemon, as I said before, that I am really scared of. So Charizard as Aegislash and Landorus take the field. Okay, so I did EV my Charizard. Well, I didn't EV my Accelgor to outspeed Adamant Landorus, but I can just go for a Heat Wave right here if I really, really want to. I could go for the Overheat in the Landorus, which wouldn't be too bad of an option, if I do say so myself. If I could get rid of that Aegislash, I'd be in such a good position. I could double protect here, but the problem is I am a little bit worried about Aegislash going for something like a substitute, for instance. So I think my best play is to switch out into my own Landorus, get this Intimidate off into my opponent's team, so I'll live the Rock Slide, and just fire off a Heat Wave. I don't know if he would go for the Wide Guard right off the bat, because I don't technically have to go for this play. I could always go for like a Lele Protect with Accelgor and then Final Gambit the Landorus the following turn. So I'm not sure if you're going to do that. If I get rid of Aegislash, my Accelgor is going to have a really fun time against my opponent's team, as well as my Tapu Lele. So I think that's worth considering. And if I am faster than this Landorus, I'm in a really solid position. And we're not sure if Aegislash does survive Heat Wave. In 2014, they used to EV Aegislash to live Charizard's Heat Wave, but not sure if that's the case anymore. We do tend to see fast Aegislash in this format. We're going to see the Rock Slide. It is going to be confirmed to be Scarf Landorus, as it does outspeed my Charizard. And let's see, do we flinch? Nope. We do connect both Heat Waves, which is really nice, so I will be able to get that massive amount of damage off. Almost picks up the knockout Aegislash. Ooh, gets the Burn on Landers, which is really nice too. As Aegislash will stand change here. Maybe a double up here, maybe it's a Shadow Ball. It's not the Z move for sure, it's just Shadow Ball coming out and targeting down to Charizard. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, the Charizard goes down, which is alright, as Life Orb Aegislash, huh. That is an interesting tech right there. That is an interesting tech. I can go Tapu Lele here. Or I could go Accelgor. Tapu Koko's not going to come out. I think if anything it would be the Tapu Lele coming out. I think I'm going to bring my Accelgor out. If it's Charizard, I'm a little bit questioning. But then again, I could go for like Acid Spray Psychic, so I don't feel like I'd be too bad in the position. So let's go Accelgor. Charizard is going to reveal itself. I think I could go for the Rock Tomb right here into the Charizard. Or I could go Tapu Lele. There are multiple plays I can make. I think Rock Tomb, but if I lose my Landers, I do lose the Heatran in the back, which I am a little bit concerned about. Lele should live Heat Wave, no problem, and even if he Tailwind, I do have Encore threat onto the Charizard, so you know what? Protect switching to Lele is the better play here. I do need Landers around for the Heatran, which is the only reason why I'm mainly doing this play, because I feel like if there is a Pokemon in the back, I would assume it'd be the Heatran. It might not be the Heatran, but I think it would be very likely it'd be the Heatran because of the fact that I just don't see a really good Landers counterplay to my opponent. So we're going to see just a Protect. Okay, that's perfect actually. Because one, I do have the Encore threat, which I did mention earlier. Two, with the Psychic Seed, I now outspeed the Charizard, which is really good. So I can just go for, like, if I want to, Encore and Psychic. Because if this is Jolly Scarf Landers, I don't want it flinching my Lele. And that's the only thing I am really worried about here. So let's fire off the Psychic here and the Encore so I can guarantee something. Which is pretty good here. Like, I'm in a pretty good spot. I do wonder if this is Scarf Landers though. That is one thing that is still concerning to me. I think I should have this. I still think I'm in a really good position though. Because of the fact with this Encore, I'm going to be in a really solid spot. We are going to see Charizard Mega Evolve and both my opponent's Pokemon stay in. So there's not going to be like a Heatran. So that's great because now, one, I get to confirm what kind of Landers this is. Jolly or Adamant Scarf Landers. And I don't have to risk anything. I could have went for Acid Spray Psychic, but again, I didn't want Rock Slide flinching my Tapu Lele if this is Jolly Scarf Landers. So it is Jolly Scarf Landers. So we'll just go for the Rock Slide here. I'm hoping Lele can just get the initial damage off because that would be really lovely here if I could get the initial damage off. Nice, we do get the Psychic off into the Charizard, which does so much damage as Charizard will fail its Protect right here. And this is pretty ideal here because I can just go for the Psychic here into the Landorus, and I could, well, the damage on Accelgor doesn't really matter unless it's a final Gambit I'm going for it, but I could Acid Spray into anything on my opponent's team. But you know what, I think I'm just going to protect my Accelgor because I do have my Landorus in the back. We're going to see the Charizard withdraw, which is fine, into my opponent's Tapu Lele, which is okay for me. So Tapu Lele is going to come in. I will protect my Accelgor. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a game right here, actually. Depending on this Tapu Lele set. Rock Slide's going to come out once again, which is fine. I want to keep health because of the fact I'll be able to knock out a non-bulky Lele with my Accelgor now. A Psychic will come out and target down the Landorus because Charizard would have been guaranteed to go for a double right there. And I don't really have to target down the Lele. Although maybe targeting the Lele might have been nice because of the fact I could have guaranteed the final game and the fact that Burn was going to knock it out. So maybe that was worth considering. Charizard's going to come out now, but I think Psychic. I don't know, Gambit should. I don't feel like this would be a bulky Lele on this team. It could be, but Lele shouldn't have anything that can knock out my own Lele. I don't think Charizard-Y would knock me out. So I'm just going to final Gambit here, as we are going to see the Charizard Protect here. So it has to be a bulky Lele in order to survive. Oh, wait. I went for Acid Spray? Oh. I think I misclicked here. Oh, that's not good. I meant to click Final Gambit. We're going to see the Moonblast come out though. Okay, that's not too bad either. Into the Lele? I'll take that. Because I'll survive. Yeah. I survived there, which is great. I can go for the Psychic here. And I guess it still works out. As I said before, I think that might be Specs Lele, but I'm just going to Final Gambit the Tapu Lele on my opponent's side now. Because of the fact that you failed to protect, so I'm pretty much secured. But Final Gambit after the Acid Spray should be able to pick up the knockout. Yeah, unless it was like max HP Lele. I'm pretty sure I would have 100% won the game if I went for Final Gambit there. But yeah, that was a little bit of a mistake, but luckily it wasn't too costing of my position there, as I will be able to knock out the Charizard, and that would be a good game to my opponent. So Burn was a little bit unfortunate on the Landers. It neutered the damage output that it could have done, which, you know, would have led to the, you know, a bit more tricky situation. I think if that was the case, I would still just go for, no, I would still be forced to Psychic the Landers. So, because the Rock Slide damage would have done more, but then again, I think I would have to play slightly differently. But I think I would still be able to win the end game with my Landers in the back, because I could still intimidate my opponent's Landers. I still had Accelgor, which was threatening with the Acid Sprays, the Encores. My opponent couldn't really stop it, so able to pick up another win. And I think that's going to be it for today's episode of VGC 2018 Baek Battles. I think we're up to, I don't know what we're up to. I think we're, because I stopped the recording earlier, so I think we're like probably like 26 minutes into the video. If I do another battle, even though these battles tend to be short, it's gonna take quite a bit. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today's episode of VGC 2018 Baek Battles. So yeah, first episode with the Accelgor team, doing pretty well. I actually tried to play a little bit earlier with the Accelgor team, and it wasn't doing so hot, but luckily it looks like I got back on the swing of this team. I think this team is probably one of the most complicated. Yeah, it looks easy. You have the Accelgor, you get the Acid Spray, but I feel like this team has, like, it's very complicated in depth, especially against, you know, you have to play really well against certain matchups. Like Incineroar or Tapu Fini can be really annoying. I feel like I have to play extremely well in order to position myself correctly against those teams, because one wrong move can really cost you, and if you don't know your matches with this team, it can definitely be detrimental. So this is definitely one of the teams I think was the most complicated if you don't know how to approach it right, and I'm still actually shocked that I was able to do well at the Virginia Regional Championship with this team. But hopefully this team gets to show off some of its strong points, continue on from the future episodes. But hope that everyone enjoyed today's episode. Again, the team report will be coming out sometime later this week, so look forward to that. I'll link it down below once it's up. But otherwise, thank you for tuning in. Of course, if you do want to follow me on my social medias, you can check them out down below, including my Twitch channel, which I will be going back to live streaming more often, especially since we had that break, as I said before, between internationals and worlds. I do want to get in a bunch of new content. And yeah, I hope everyone is looking forward to it, because I think I really do like the ideas that I've come up with, and I hope you will too. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. You can check out the previous episodes if you missed them, and yeah, feel free to leave a comment as I do read them. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. Have a great day, people, and until we battle again, I'll catch you all later.